I stayed home today to do the presentation, so hopefully my dogs don't bark while we're online. But I'm so glad you guys joined me today for this. So, you know, every month I would like to try to have something that I think, you guys might have an interest in that could benefit you or your organization or business. So today, my plan is to talk about your digital curb and what the heck is that? What does that mean? As well as how to make your digital presence more appealing when people are searching. So how to rank higher in those local search results. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. It's 11:02 and I want to be very aware of time, and I'm so thankful you guys joined me. So the digital storefront, hopefully everybody can see my screen. Your business location and your listings matter if you want foot traffic. So foot traffic in terms of customers or resources, whatever that is, if you want people to know where you are and to be a part of your organization, you have to focus on these points. So first off, your website has to be sending signals to Google to even show up in the search results. So hopefully everybody understands that. I know that many of you I've worked with to make sure that that location is present and helping you, but then also that we're sending those signals to Google to crawl the site. So when you have your name, address, and phone number listed on your website, that is one of the best ways to make sure that you show up in the local search results. And we'll get into a little bit more detail about the difference between local search and then that SEO, the global type SEO search results. They both matter, but today I am going to focus mostly on the local search, because I think right now that's where most of your customers are at. Also, business citations. So a citation is a listing. That's the lingo we use. And so your listing, you want to have as many of those as possible, even if you don't think the website that you have a business citation listed is, relevant, like yellowpages.com or super pages. It is. And the interesting thing is like how we list our business across the board. That information has to be as accurate as possible. So that's something that I am a super nerd and I like to handle that. Regular updates, so posting on social media is one thing, but are you making sure that you're posting to those business directories, like where you're listed? Are you making regular updates? So Google My Business does actually allow you to make a post. That is not where you should be making a Facebook post. It's not the same thing. However, you can sometimes adopt your social media post to a local post, if that makes sense. They're not interchangeable, but sometimes you can modify that social media posting and use it for your local SEO. Just depends. And that's where I'm useful. Your name, address, and phone number. So we call it an app. Everybody probably wants one by now. It's 11 o'clock in the morning, but that's not the same kind of nap. It's your name, address, and phone number, and that has to be consistent 1000% across the board. You want your NAP listing to be identical everywhere. So this is one of my little pet peeves in the business, is that I will have a customer with their listing as ice cream and cake shop, ice cream, cake shop, ice cream plus cake. If you have a brand name, you need to use that brand name on every single listing. Drop the LLC, drop the little, initials behind the name. make it consistent and use that same name everywhere. If you've moved recently and you have a new office location or you're adding locations, you want to make sure that one, you update all of those previous business citations, and two, that wherever you're adding new locations, that you're claiming that Google My Business profile. So that's super duper important. And that's something that we can handle for you. So that's really fun, is cleaning up those NAP listings. Also, like I just said, multiple locations equal multiple listing. If you are, I've got Steve on the phone, so I'm going to use him as an example. Actually, Peace River is a great example too. You guys have tons of locations. You want to have tons of Google My Business profiles, because wherever that you're located, that is how your customers in that vicinity will find you. So it's really important to have all of those locations listed. Don't use one main hub if you really would like to have people visiting all those different places of business. Adding photos, adding personal anecdotes, adding links. Those are all really important things to do with your digital storefront and your business listings. And then reviews. Reviews is super important. Again, I go a little bonkers with this. Like, I want to respond to reviews as soon as they show up. I also want reviews on a weekly basis. Like, I don't want to go 3 months without getting one review. As a business owner, you want to try to get regular reviews into your profile so that it shows that you are active, you are relevant, and you are involved. And then you get those customer reviews, but then you have to make sure that you're actually responding to them. And it can be time consuming. So especially if you get tons of them. If you're a high volume business, you could get multiple reviews in a day. Taking the time to respond to them within a 72-hour window. I recommend 24, but I know that not everybody sits there waiting for a review. So you got other things to do. If you can answer it within that business week, super, because again, that is a very important factor to Google. And then Q&A. So on your business profile on Google My Business, you actually have a questions and answers area. You can ask questions on your business profile that will help users know what to expect or how business flows within your organization. So asking those questions and answering them yourself is actually a really great way to not only increase your ranking, but to show that you're thinking about the customer and you want to answer those questions that are on the top of their mind. But Google is an open source format. So your consumers, your customers can actually ask questions. And it's really important that you're making sure that you're responding to those as well. So that's fun. And we're going to go to the next page. I'm zooming along here. All right, this is called The Scoop. So I looked up an ice cream shop. And where I'm located, it's this little blue dot here. So these are the ice cream shops that are closest to me. But if you are, let's see, if you're Steve or maybe Ileana, and you're located somewhere downtown, Baskin Robbins is going to be the closest ice cream shop near you. So how can we always show up in this top 3 if my location changes? So if I were to be downtown, I still want to be able to, if I'm the owner of Brewster's, I still want to show up in this top 3. And why? Because 78% of your customers are making an in-store purchase or action after they make that local search. I mean, what's staggering, I'm going to go back a little bit, 46% of the people searching they have local intent. It's not, they're not looking for something in New York City. They would have put in ice cream shop New York City. They're looking for an ice cream shop near them at that moment. And with their location services turned on, they want to know that they can find it in a close proximity, right? And then also that map pack, 29% of those searches, they're going right to it. So I skipped over that part, but I wanted to make sure that we bring that to like really highlight that, because your location, your curb appeal matters. And how can you get into the top 3 of the map pack? That's the best question ever. I wish I had all the answers. I don't. So you can pay for it. You can pay to be up here and it'll say ad next to your brand name. I don't know. Some people have an aversion to clicking on ads. So and I personally don't, I like to click on ads just because I know that people are paying for them. So I want to try to utilize their services. However, people do like 7% of users, I think, have like this hesitancy to click on an ad. You know, if you don't have the funds to pay for ads, there are ways to increase the ability for your organization to be on top. Something that might happen, like say you're running an after school program and you're a nonprofit, you want to get as many kids in the door, it's a new location, then maybe you should see what your neighbors are doing, what the competition is doing, what keywords they're using. So that's one way to look at it, is increasing those keyword terms that are being used on page, as well as making sure that your NAP data is listed on the website so that you're showing up. So that's just one way to get into that top 3. But there's more. Keywords. So keywords are interesting because they've really changed over the last 20 years. Initially, well, in the 90s when Yahoo came out, I can remember searching like as if I was talking to the computer. And then in the 2000s, that kind of changed. People just started using terms. But now we're back to the 90s. We did a retro move. We're going back and we're asking these questions like, where's a coffee shop near me? Like, I want coffee. Yesterday was National Coffee Day. I think I had like 6 cups because everywhere you went, they had free cups of coffee. Like, I couldn't resist. So the way you search for things really does matter. I say Coke because when I want a soda, I say Coke because I'm from the South. But my husband, who's from the Midwest, will say pop. And I just look at him like, what the heck is a pop? But that's what it is. So you have to think in terms like colloquial and localized terms. So, you know, I can't think off the top of my head other scenarios of this, but it does happen. So you want to make sure that you aren't just targeting. We have a lot of Northerners that visit this area, so you have to think about the terms that they might use, as well as your local population. And then stick your location behind that keyword. So if you're looking for ice cream and you're in Lakeland, or you're an ice cream shop and you're in Lakeland, you want to say ice cream near me, ice cream Lakeland, ice cream Mulberry. Wherever you're at, you want to make sure that you're using those cities behind your brand or your initiative, you know, your organizational terms. And then ask yourself intentional questions to build your keyword and phrase list. How would people search for a barber? Are they going to say a haircut? Do they need a trim? Are they getting highlights? Those are things that, you know, sometimes we forget as business owners and nonprofit leaders. You are so focused on your work that you forget that there's new ways and phrases and slang that people are using all the time. So you have to adopt that. You have to be willing to think about other terms that are outside of the box that you get stuck in. Also URLs. So those keywords need to be injected into your URLs. I had a conversation just recently about the title of blog posts and things like that. And they're like, oh, well, I just used the same title for the URL. And it's like, well, think about it though. Is that really how that person is going to search for that content? If you're looking for ways to combat pandemic fatigue, you're probably not going to say that they're not going to type in into the search box pandemic fatigue. They're going to say, you know, what are some ways to battle exhaustion, or what are ways to combat exhaustion? 7, you know, simple, easy ways. Those are just ideas that you have to kind of think about how your business, yes, titles, the way you brand, you label it is one thing, but then the actual URL slug, that little piece behind your .com/ whatever, needs to be a little bit more keyword heavy. So just something to think about there. On-page SEO. So when you're talking about localizing your content for the on-page stuff, anytime you're doing a blog, you should list landmarks. You should mention local celebrities. You should mention, you know, wherever that event is going to be held, or however it's going to happen. So Steve, I keep seeing Steve's name here, so you're right in the middle of my little bar of people. So Boys and Girls Club, they have a golf tournament next, well, gosh, it's only like 2.5 weeks away. And it's at 2 different locations, in Lakeland and in Winter Haven. So having a page that has all that information listed out, has the golf club listed out, has those keywords like golf tournament, you know, those are things that you're going to want to organically put into your text. You don't want to stuff keywords ever, because Google will reprimand you for that. But it is really, really good to have them organically fitting into your text. Also, one really simple way to boost your on-page SEO is to embed your Google My Business profile. A lot of people forget to do this. They have their like location pinned, but they don't actually use their Google My Business embed code, which is super simple to embed. If you need help with that, I will do it for free, because it does help you, and it is just like so helpful for people to find you. Okay, so that was where to start. Let's talk about ranking factors. There's 8 ranking factors, and it can be a bit of a slog to make sure that you're hitting all these on a weekly, monthly basis. So number 1, I know all of you have your Google My Business profile, which is good. So proximity, categories, keyword, and your business title, etc. Those are the ways that Google, the number 1 way for you to show up in the map pack and organically in the search results is your Google My Business profile. That is like your new homepage. Your Google My Business profile, just get that into your head. That is your homepage. Because people are going to look at it and go, oh, there's a website button, and they're going to click on that and then actually land on the true homepage. But your Google My Business profile is like your marquee sign, the church marquee, like how you get in the door. Number 2, linking signals. This is your inbound anchor text. Your domain authority, like how long you've had your domain on virtual real estate, and then your linking quality. A lot of people will buy links. That's a really bad practice, and it can actually make your ranking signals go lower. So don't ever buy links. You want quality links, and if you can get links from local businesses, even better. Okay. Review signals, review quantity, review velocity, and review diversity. So if you had 50 5-star reviews in 1 week, and then you all of a sudden didn't get a 5-star review for like 6 months, Google's going to be like, they paid for those. Or whose friend, how many friends does this person have that they asked them for all those reviews? It has to be an ongoing battle to get those reviews. You want it to be consistent, and it is good to have a 3.5 or 4-star every once in a while. I don't recommend the 1 or 2s. If you get 1s and 2s on a regular basis, we gotta talk about maybe some customer service training or something, because that's no bueno. But having a little bit of diversity, having a few little negative hits, somewhat moderate reviews, that's not a bad thing. Number 4, on-page signals. So again, the presence of your NAP, keywords in titles, domain authority, that's super important. And I'm so OCD, I just realized there's not a line there like every other one. Sorry about that, guys. So your presence of NAP, keywords and titles, domain authority, super important for on-page signals. We just reviewed that like heavily, because I think these are like your probably the primary focus. Number 5 is important. It probably is like a 15%, maybe 10% ranking factor. This one is like 60 something though. It's the big daddy. But number 5, that is how many citations do you have, and are they all matching? And you would be so surprised at how many people don't have matching citations. But if you only have 3 citations and you're a local business, and you're, maybe you're Rick's Wine Market, and then Publix only 1.5 miles down the road has an absurd amount of citations, you're going to miss out on business because you're poor little Rick and you haven't tried to get any more citations. Also, I shop there. Behavioral signals, click-through rate, mobile clicks to call, check-ins. Your behavior if people aren't clicking through to the website, then something's amiss on your Google My Business profile or on your Yelp listing, or however that is. So those behavioral signals, how customers are actually engaging with your Google My Business profile, does determine your ranking factor. If people aren't using the call button, the website button, or the get direction button, then Houston, we have a problem. Personalization, making it personal and using your branding, your images, photos, super important. Your citations need to be all about your business. Your post should be all about your business. And they should, people should be able to hear your voice in those posts. And then social signals. So if my daughter's birthday was yesterday, we took her to Fresco's to get those giant sundaes they make that are, I don't even know, one person can't possibly eat all of that, but they're really yummy. And I tagged them in it because I just think that they're incredible works of dessert art. And so if your customers are tagging you in posts or using your location in posts, awesome. Example, Amy, Lakeland Symphony Orchestra, Saturday, you have your first live performance, right? So that's really super exciting. I would be like, hey, friend, can you tag us here? Can you post here? Because that is going to elevate your presence. And that's what we want. We want people to know about you. So you sometimes you gotta do grassroots efforts. All right, so I was pretty quick. I wanted to only take about 20, 25 minutes. If you want to unmute and ask some questions, I'm ready for you. Nobody? Oh my goodness. All right, well, I'm at
Stephanie, I will unmute and ask questions since you called us out. So talk to me, or can you say anything about the NAP, since we don't really want people to visit our office.
Yeah.
Not that we don't really love people, but we're going to be in, multiple places
Right.
around the county. And so our office isn't necessarily where folks want to come. How should we be addressing that?
So you definitely want to make sure that you're listed as serving a service area, not, so they're in the back end on Google My Business. You have all these options. And I think we did this for you, but I will double check just to make sure. But you want to make sure you're listed as serving a service area, not a specific location. And when you post events, you want to make sure that the address is included in that event. So when you go into Google My Business, it'll have the event option, but you have to expand it to get all the different fields. And so we want to make sure that those are completed with the right address. And then additionally, we can probably get the get directions button removed off that profile. So that would be one way to prevent people from just showing up on the doorstep. Anybody else?
Hey, Stephanie, I'll unmute. This is Steve Giordano from the Boys and Girls Clubs of Polk County.
Hey.
Hey, first of all, forgive me, I'm driving and you can't see my video, but just such a big fan of your company, and don't know how many people you have on here, but these kinds of things are magnificent because it's just second nature to you, but it is absolutely baffling to us lay people. And I am one of the 7% that won't click on an ad. I don't even have a good reason why I won't click on an ad, but I won't. But my question is, and I didn't know that Google would get mad at me for the reviews if I don't keep up on it. And I kind of focus on it, but not enough. Does it help your relevance if you have more, even if they're the 3s or the 4s that you're talking about? Or is it you're just trying to keep it active so you don't get kicked off?
Well, I think that it is important to have a little diversity with the level of review. So, that when I see a 4-star review come in and someone has a history of so many 5s like you do, I think it's actually beneficial. Yes, consistency and volume really matters. So, I mean, I know that that's a hard thing, but there are ways to do like simple outreach. I think Ashley AGL is doing that in the newsletter with requesting reviews, but that might be somewhere, if it's not being added on a monthly basis, that's another way to generate those reviews, even on the social media posts. So Facebook reviews matter as well. I think Yelp allows you to provide a review. So those having not just solely focusing on Google reviews can help boost your relevancy in that local map pack.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right. Well, if nobody else has any questions, we can close out. Man, 30 minutes. I feel like a rock star. We whipped through that. All right, guys. Well, I hope everybody has a great day. I'm so glad you joined us. And I'm going to be posting this on the blog with a little breakdown if you want to see those listed out a little bit easier than in a slideshow. All right. Have a great day.